primary ignition.
Welcome to Unlimited Power. My name is D-Rod, and I'm going to talk about my experience at the Season 0 Dallas Planetary Qualifier that took place early this October in 2024. Now, this was one of the first qualifiers that got posted. I happened to be on the store's mailing list, and I got an email immediately about this event. Being a Texas native who's transplanted to the Northwest, I've always really enjoyed Common Ground Games. I played there a lot during Star Wars Destiny, made a lot of travel to Dallas, really enjoyed that store. And I know that store has set a benchmark across the industry for a lot of local game stores. So I'm always excited to get down there and have some fun. So as soon as they posted this event, I made sure to sign up because tickets sold out within 6 hours. I was hopping on Discord, DMing people to make sure they signed up, texting old Destiny friends to make sure they didn't miss the mark. And I was looking at flights to get down there from the Portland area. I was so excited about this, and there was a lot of prep, a lot of training on what we wanted to take, what we were going to do, and just how to make this event a really fun time because it was the first one. Now, yes, this happened a couple weeks ago, but I still think there's some stuff to learn. And if you didn't attend the event, hopefully it encourages you to check it out. So, as I mentioned, Common Ground Games is a big name in the essentially game store industry. They've done a lot of things very well. They are a premier magic store. They set the tone for being very inclusive and making sure they're touching a lot of different games and having a wide variety of staff that are very knowledgeable, and they just do a lot for the community. They are just a great example of what a store can become. So I was really excited that we got to go down there. Common Ground Games did a lot of things well. They had a lot of staff on hand. They made sure to get a not only a couple of SWU judges, but they had a few on hand staff to help them, and they also had a member of the Fantasy Flight Organized Play attending as well. Some of the things I wish they could have done a little bit better was just give us a little bit more information beforehand. We did get an email the day before, but the email was mostly about if you purchased a food ticket there. And it was great that they did bring in pizza so people didn't have to leave. You could pay as part of registration. And I thought they did that very well. But when you got the email about the event the night before, it wasn't a reminder of start times. Did we need to bring deck list? And as far as what to expect. With that, I wish we could have had that a little bit sooner, just to kind of be as prepared as we needed to be. But either way, it was still great. We showed up that day. There was a long line outside the store. And it was great to just catch up with people, whether they were from Texas or Oklahoma. If I played them during Destiny or other Star Wars games, really enjoyed just meeting a bunch of new people and catching up with others. Now, the event was ran pretty decently for the first one. There were a lot of hiccups, though. We started late. There were some issues with Melee, which ended up having to restart several times. Overall, I do think we lost about 2 hours of the day just to a lot of issues and repairings, lots and lots of repairings. And I'm sure it was a learning experience for the store. Now, I can't fault the store for any of that. Things happen, but it does add into the overall experience of making sure that Melee is running properly, that we have backups, things like that, etc. But I thought it's still well ran. I really enjoyed that they had a variety of judges strolling along and taking a chance, taking moments to look at people's decks as well as watch the gameplay and interrupting when they know it was necessary to do. Um, but it was a great game. It was a great day. Packed out house, really fun. There was a lot going on. I was really happy about the other content creators that were there because we're in Texas. It definitely was going to be garbage roller territory, and they were there all in force with shirts on, and I had a good time. I got to play one of them, and a great time seeing them there, as well as Bucket's Heads, who are doing a live stream of that event. And if you didn't catch it, it's worth going to check out just because they do put a lot of emphasis into production, and I'm really impressed with them. Had a couple of moments to talk with Justin and his team, and just really enjoyed that they were there, not only streaming it but trying to put commentary and do more for it. I think it definitely made the event more exciting, and hopefully it made it even more watchable for those of you who caught it. And if you haven't, we'll have a link down in the description below for you to check out, at least to see how well they do things there. Um, I just thought that was great. So let's get into a fun little story here. Penalty points. So I found out about this a little bit later. I did have an issue with the judges. By issue with the judges, I mean they had an issue with me. Um, let's start from the perspective of I found out after this event that in the judge chat about this event, I was definitely a talking point for what was going on. I don't think they really knew that I was a content creator. I think they just kind of knew, based on what I submitted, that there was an issue with my deck. So I definitely built a deck, and I had some issue, I had to make some changes with it. The morning of, we were talking about the deck, me and my partner who brought it, my playtest partner, and we just made some changes that we felt were fitting for the day. When we filled out our deck list, I forgot to adjust my sideboard properly. So I went back up to the front with the judges and asked to see my deck list so I can fix it. When I got the deck list, I made sure to fix it. I did have to show my ID to prove I was the right player, not trying to cheat. So after I got my deck list back, I made the adjustments, which were I was taking out all my Kylo Ren's TIE silencers and replacing them with the Mandalorian Fang Fighters. So I needed those in play or in my deck, and I needed to switch them out. I crossed everything out on my main deck. Essentially, everything on my main board was appropriate. What I didn't fix was I added cards into my sideboard, resulting in me having a 12 card sideboard, and I didn't cross off 2 of the cards I needed to cross off. So essentially, what I found out was the judges knew that I had a 12 card sideboard, and it took them a couple of rounds to finally get to me. By the time they did get to me was round 5. I'm not sure why it took so long. I'm sure they kind of discussed that in their own judge channels, but by the time they got to me, they deck checked me and my opponent. They found my opponent to have an error, and they found me to have an error. Now, the head judge did very well at walking me through what the error was. They pulled out a chart. I looked at it. I read it with them, and they pointed out your deck list is wrong. Your deck is correct. This is the result of the situation. But because my opponent also had an error with their deck, leading to us both getting 2 penalty points and both getting game losses, the head judge decided to allow us to play best 2 out of 3, which we did. Which is very kind of them. That's not something they have to do. It could have been a best of 1, but it seemed fitting for there. Now, we were warned, obviously, if it happens again, they do double your points. I knew that couldn't happen with me if it happened for the same situation, because mine just required an edit on a piece of paper. But it was fun just to walk away from the event with 2 penalty points in my favor. So always be mindful of that when you are filling out deck list, or if you're printing them. Check your stuff, make sure it's correct. Try to avoid situations like this where judges are trying to hunt you down. So it is what it is. It's a great anecdote. I'll take it. Now, what did I end up playing? Me and my playtest partner, we both decided to play the same thing. I went 3 and 4, resulting in 67th place. He went 4 and 3, resulting in 26th place. Now, there's a link to this deck in the description below, and it's very similar to one I've been playing for a bit. But it's one that we felt fitting for the matchups. It felt good against Han Blue, Sabine Green, Ray, Reds. Like, it felt really strong against them, with mostly some good matches against Bobas. Where this deck struggled the most would be Han Yellows. Han just had a little bit more, can do more than what Bossk can on tempo. Most people just don't know how to play against Bossk a lot of times, and now that the season's over, it's, and I've showed this hundreds of times in regular streams, if you don't play anything for Bossk to play, you really keep him from getting ahead. Most people just don't know that. And so Bossk can kind of keep up where he needs to, but really struggles against some of these predominant yellow leaders. Either way, I was really happy with this. I thought my playtest partner did really well. I was okay with what I had, but obviously I knew where I could have done better, and so I made sure to really work on this deck before the next PQ, just to at least get a better placing. My results for the day ended up with a loss against Han Yellow, a loss against Bossk Green, my first win coming against Ray Blue. Now, I will say this, the Han Solo Yellow, there was nothing I was going to do there. That player was going doing very well, had the right cards, and I did get a little greedy, but it's really hard to keep up with someone who can play that style of deck very well. Boss Green was a surprise to me. And what I loved about the story about Boss Green is there weren't many people playing Bossk, but there were definitely a couple people annoyed that they kept running into one Bossk after another in a series of events. So that was good. And it was encouraging to see someone else and have a good conversation in a really fun game. My first win, came when I was playing Ray Blue. Again, the deck just can do really well against it. All those low cost units, most of them unique. Boss can just take advantage of that and get some damage in very quickly. Dr. Afra, a very similar situation. Boss can just stay on tempo, take care of most units, and get ahead. Then we ran into a Boba Yellow. That unfortunately did not go in my favor, but Sabine Ren Green did. Always good. I did have some fun, like at least one win against the Boba Yellow, but overall, ending the day with a Palpatine Green. This was a fun one because it was all about racing to your biggest guys. I made sure to race to my Crate Dragon. They were racing to their big pools, and it was just a fun final match to end the day. Now, the winner of this event, if you weren't aware, was someone playing Boba Green, and it was a Neil. He did very well. All props to it. I'm sure people have talked about it for a while now since this posting, but it was great. And for an event that was as packed as it was, with a lot of competition, not a lot of variety in those top series of decks, it's mad props to Neil and what he was able to do in making the right plays and the right decision. You can catch a lot of that again on that Buckethead stream. Overall, I felt like the event was super good. I really enjoyed meeting a lot of new people, talking to old friends, and catching up on this type of event. I'm definitely excited for the next PQ season, or even other seasons when I can go down to the Texas area and play at stores as great as Common Ground and some of the other cities there in Texas and even Oklahoma. So, overall, I thought this was a great event. And I really encourage people to consider going to PQs no matter what deck you want to take. As you can see, I took Bossk Green. That is not a tier 1 deck, but I had a lot of fun. I enjoyed the placing of the deck, and I knew what it could do and where it could get. And overall, I just think good time. Thanks so much for checking out this video about my experience at the Dallas PQ. Let me know if you were there or what PQ you attended. What was something that stood out to you that you enjoyed? I'd love to hear it. And are you excited for the next one as we enter Twilight of the Republic, releasing November 8th? Thanks so much for watching. I'll talk to you later, and may the Force be with you.